Once upon a time, two brothers, Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm, set out to find the forgotten fairy tales of ancient Germany. After many years of searching and listening and collecting, they finally revealed their first copy of Grimm's Fairy Tales, the greatest collection of folklore the world has ever known. What you are about to hear are stories from the very first edition, unaltered, unedited, written down as the brothers heard them. A warning: some of these stories contain violence and horror left out of later versions and may not be suitable for children or the faint of heart. Without further ado, Town Hall Library presents Grimm Tales. Once upon a time, there was a poor man who already had 12 children when a 13th son was born. Since he was at his wits' end and in such distress, he ran into the forest, where he encountered our dear Lord, who said to him, "I feel sorry for you, my poor man. I shall stand sponsor to your child at the baptism and take care of him, so he will live happily forever after." Upon saying this, the Lord disappeared and left them standing there in the trees. Soon thereafter, the poor man encountered Death, who likewise spoke to him and said, "I want to be your godfather and stand sponsor to your child. If he has me as his friend, he will never be in need, for I will make him into a great physician." "I'm satisfied with what you say," said the man. "You don't make a difference between rich and poor when you fetch them. Tomorrow's Sunday. My son will be baptized. Just show up at the right time." The next morning, Death came and held the child during the baptism. After the child had grown up, Death came once again and took his godson into the forest. "Now you are to become a doctor, and you only have to pay attention to what I say to you now. When you are called to a sick person, and you see me standing at his head, it's a sign that I will not take him. Let him smell the vapors of this bottle and rub this salve on his feet. Then he'll become well again. However, if I stand at his feet, then it's all over, and I will take him. Don't try to cure him." Upon saying this, Death gave him the bottle, and the young man became a famous physician. He only had to look at the sick person, and he knew in advance whether the person would become well or whether they would die. One time, he was called to the king, who was lying in bed because of a serious illness. When the doctor entered the room, he saw Death standing at the king's feet, and so he knew the vapors of the bottle would be of no help. But nevertheless, he had an urge to deceive Death. So he grabbed hold of the king and turned him around so that Death stood at his head. This change succeeded, and the king became well. However, when the doctor returned home, Death came to him, gave him some fierce looks, and said, "If you dare trick me another time, I will twist your head off your body." Soon thereafter, the king's beautiful daughter became sick, and no one in the world could help her. The king wept day and night, and finally he announced that whoever cured her would have her as his reward and marry her. So the doctor came, but he saw Death standing there at the feet of the princess. But since he was so completely enchanted by her beauty, he forgot all of Death's warnings, and he turned the princess around, let her smell the vapors of the bottle, and rubbed the soles of her feet with the salve. And she was well again too. But no sooner did he return home than Death stood there with a horrible look on his face. He seized his godson and carried him to an underground cave, where there 1,000 candles were burning. "Take a look," Death said. "These are the candles of the living. And this light over here, that's only burning a little, that's your life. watch out. If you thought that ending was a little abrupt, so did the Brothers Grimm. Godfather Death was one story that underwent several changes in later editions. For instance, where it was only God and Death in the beginning vying for godfathership, the brothers added the devil to create a trifecta of extremes. The ending, too, was made a little more dramatic. The doctor would be taken down to the cave where the candles were burning, but instead of simply receiving another warning, Death kills him. He is shown the candle as if making to extend the life a little longer, and then extinguishes it in front of him. And the son, the doctor, falls to the ground, dead. As they put it, fallen into the hands of death, making this one of the rare occurrences where later editions of the story became more violent than the original. Thanks for listening, everyone. And remember the lesson of the story, and take it to heart. Be careful with the gifts you are given, and never deny death his due.